Hey everyone, it's Mary. I had a specific request this week to put together a video showing you what I have inside my camera bag at any given day. So that is what this tutorial is going to be today, is showing you what I shoot with. To say that this is a camera bag is kind of silly because it's not. It's a Pelican case, it's gigantic. And this is not the only thing. I usually have half of my trunk full as well, but I'm going to show you today. I just finished up a newborn shoot, so this is what I would have in my bag ready to go for a newborn shoot. So first off, this is my camera strap. I use a harness. I used to use a regular over-the-shoulder camera strap, and I found that it really bothered my neck and it bothered my lower back, so I stopped using it. I found this on Amazon. It was pretty cheap. It came the next day because I love Amazon Prime. And it's really comfortable. It goes on just like a harness, and part of the reason I love it so much is that you can use two cameras with it. When I shoot weddings, I typically have two cameras on me. I'll shoot my main camera, which is this one, which is a D810, and then my backup is a 610, and I'll put both of them on. With this one, you can clip this one like this, and then it has two more clips to clip another camera on it as well. You can also clip them to one side like this and have one on each side of you if you prefer that method. I find for my neck and my back it's a little bit more comfortable just to have it straight in front of me. So that's what I use for a camera strap. This camera body is my main camera. It's a Nikon D810. I bought it refurbished. I actually bought both of my camera bodies refurbished because they come with the same warranty as a brand new camera from Nikon, and the value to me is it's so much cheaper for the same quality camera. So that's what I usually buy. So I have this. Sitting on top of here is my trigger for my lighting. I use Photix trigger and receiver system. I usually have a backup one of these in my bag as well. And then the other part of it is on the back of my softbox, and that is the receiver portion. So I have that. I have an Expo disc in my camera bag, although I never use it, so I don't know why I have it here. I actually got two for Christmas one year, and I just have always kept one in my camera bag. The other one I actually gave to a friend of mine. But if you're having a lot of trouble setting your white balance, this can be really helpful. For me, I feel like I can eye it pretty good and come up with as good a quality as the Expo disc can give me, but I have it in there just in case I ever have a hard time. So that's in there. I have a plethora of AA and AAA batteries for my speed lights, for off-camera flash, and also for the trigger and receiver system. Some of them use AA and some use AAA, so I use both. I do have rechargeable batteries as well as regular batteries, but the rechargeable ones don't seem to last as long, so I try not to use them quite as much, especially if it's like a wedding. If it's a family session or something I know I'm only going to be out there for an hour, then I'll use the rechargeable batteries. I have an extra camera battery always. I always have one at the studio on my charger, as well as one at home on my charger. I have my 70-200, which I use both in studio and out studio, especially for family portraits, for up close of kids. I don't typically use it with a newborn just because I don't like to be that far away from a newborn. I like to be able to keep my hands on them. But I will use it for toddlers in the studio, especially ones that are kind of shy and they don't want me right in their face. If I use the 70-200, I can stay on the other side of the room and I'm not really in their space. So they tend to open up a little bit more. So I have that lens. I have my 105 Sigma macro. This is a awesome lens. This is one of my absolute favorite lenses. It's really, really sharp. You can use it for portraits. I typically use it just for macros. Little baby eyelashes, toes. If I'm at a wedding, I'll use it for rings. I just use it all of the time. I really, really love this lens. It just gives a really beautiful lens compression, especially with the macros if you're doing some up-close shots. So that's the 105. I also have an 85 1.4, which I think I'm the only person in the history of the world who doesn't love this lens. Everyone loves this lens, and I just don't. And I've considered selling it a bunch of times, but I always come back to, you know, everyone loves it, so maybe I will one day. But I just don't love it. I feel like if I want something in the 85 range that gives me a really good compression that I can shoot more open with and get really sharp images, I'll probably just go for the 105. And if I want something that's going to be a good focal length for a portrait, I would rather shoot with the 70 to 200. So I just don't really know why I still have this lens. But 85 1.4, everyone in the world loves it but me. I have lens hood for every single one of these lenses because I always shoot with a lens hood on. So it goes here. The lens that's currently on the camera I'm using to record myself is a 24 to 70. That is the one I use most of the time in the studio for newborns, families, kids, everything. It allows me to shoot at 24 at a really wide angle where I can be really close to a baby and still hold on to them. It also allows me to shoot at 70, which it gives me a little bit more breathing room. I can back up away from a toddler. It's a really, really great all-around studio lens, and I also use it a lot for weddings. So it's just a good, versatile lens. And I use it for videos, and that's why it's on my camera right now. So the other things I always have in my bag is a lens cloth, because I always want to be able to clean my lenses if I need to. I use one of these handy little card keepers. I actually have two of them. That's why this one's kind of empty. But it's a really good way to keep, store, and organize your SD cards. Also, just another little tidbit about SD cards. Your camera is only as fast as the SD card you're using. So it's really important that you use a fast SD card if you are going to be shooting people that are moving quickly, or there's like must-have shots like at a wedding. You don't want to use one like this. Even though it's 32 gigabytes, it's a really low quality card. The fastest cards I've found are these SanDisk Gold ones here. I usually use either a 32 or a 64. They're really fast. Your camera will work really well on them, and it's just really important that you remember every time you are done with a card, you've finished a session, it's saved on your computer, you need to format your card. You do that right in camera. It's under one of the settings. Instead of deleting using the trash can button, you want to format the card, because when you use the trash can button, it's kind of like in your computer when you're putting pictures into the trash can. They're not actually gone. They still exist on your computer. It's just kind of saved them someplace else. That's what you're doing when you put pictures into the trash can on your camera. Those pictures still exist on this file, and what you're doing is you're just slowing down your SD card, and it's getting all junked up, and it's going to be harder for you to get really fast pictures from your camera. So make sure you're formatting your card and you're using a high quality SD card, which these are my favorite. I never have an issue. Even the silver ones, the SanDisk silver ones, I find when I have this in my camera, there's many times when I'm like pushing the shutter button and nothing's happening because my SD card is too slow and it's having a hard time keeping up with it. Also, if you're noticing when you're looking like at the back of your camera and you're hitting play to play back and look through your images, if it's really slow bringing on those images, that's your SD card. So you want to look into getting a higher quality SD card. One lens that I don't have with me today is my 14 to 24, I want to say. It's a super wide angle lens. It's really, really good for real estate shots. If I'm shooting a wedding and it's like in a really pretty church and I want to get like that whole picture of a whole inside of the church, I can basically get like a 180 degree picture in that lens. I don't have it with me today because I was shooting a newborn and I really don't need it. I also love the macro ability of that lens. It's not technically a macro lens, but it works really great for detail shots because it gives you like a beautiful lens compression in the background. I've been pretty impressed with it. So that's at home, but I do bring that with me when I go on locations. I just didn't bring it with me today. The other thing I keep in here is a grade card, which I have to grab. This is the grade card I use in my studio and on location if I do use a grade card. And it's just like a reflector. It kind of like rolls up into a little ball, has a little thing that it came in here. It was another Amazon find, and it just pops open. What you would do is just, you can do two things. You can take a picture with it filling your entire frame of your camera, and then under custom white balance, you can choose that picture to set as your white balance and that will set it for you. The other thing you can do is you can take a picture before your session of this in your setup, and then in post when you're correcting the white balance like in Lightroom, you can just batch them all by clicking on one of this part of the gray card so that all of the white balance will be the same in your images. So this is always in my camera bag. And then the last thing I always keep, because I do shoot a lot of kids, is my little monkey shutter hugger. He goes right onto the lens, just like this. And it's just a cute little reminder of a way to get the kids to look at your camera. Sometimes it works for about 10 minutes and then they move on, but it helps here and there. Every once in a while, especially if you're shooting down, you got to remember to take it off or you'll get like a little monkey arm in one of your pictures. But he's really cute. I got him for Christmas one year too. So yeah, so that is what is in my camera bag at any given day. Like I said, it's a Pelican case. I love this Pelican case because it has Velcro inserts that you can remove and move around however you want. So you can create the storage areas as much as you want. It's also waterproof, it's weatherproof, it's an amazing case. I think it was like $275, but worth every penny. Also, I should mention, I keep a card with me. You know, my cards with me that I don't have today because I gave a stack of them out at the Framers the other day, so I don't have them in there, but I usually have a stack of my cards. And I always have a picture of my Nana in my bag because she pretty much raised me and I love her, so she's always in there with me. And that's it. That's what's in my camera bag. If you guys have any questions on any of this equipment, why I choose to have this stuff, what I think I could probably live without. Oh, I forgot, a speed light. I always have a Nikon speed light, and I also have a backup in my trunk in case anything happens to this. And I usually have, which is not here, but I usually have a Rogue flash bender on the back of my speed light, which I'll have to post a picture for you guys because that's huge. I love my flash bender. I use that all the time. So this is always in my camera bag as well. So if you guys have any questions, shoot me a message or comment below and I will be glad to answer it for you. I hope everyone's having an awesome week and I will try to get a Lightroom and Photoshop tutorial ready for you guys as soon as I can. Thank you.